Whoa. Whoa.
What is that? Hello? Is somebody there?
I'm one of those really big blow-up arm flailing things, and I'm going...
Are you talking about... a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man?
Woo, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we don't have the copyright for that name.
I'm shaking in my boots. I'm so scared.
Wait, do you wear boots inside? Is
Yeah.
that a thing in Canada? Is that a thing? Okay, now that I'm in Canada, I may as well go trick-or-treating in Canada, because it's almost Halloween.
That's a good idea.
Okay. So go back in your house. You gotta have the illusion of trick-or-treating, okay?
Click. That was the door closing. I'm in my house now.
You gotta oil up that door. Jeez.
It's Halloween. You can't have oiled up doors. It's got to be creaky.
Yeah, true. Those are all the kids in the background, by the way. There's other kids in the neighborhood.
Oh,
Trick tray.
hello, little boy. What are you dressed up as for Halloween? You know what you look like to me? You look like a furry.
I'm meant to be Hitler.
Hitler was the first furry. Didn't you know that?
He was also a very good painter. People always forget about that.
And he
People
wrote
always
such
go,
great books.
He did. They're like, look, he killed all these people. He was a horrible man, but just look at the artwork he left behind.
It's
Just
so
look at it.
amazing. Well, little boy, here's a poutine. I hope you enjoy. You better eat it quick because it's going to get cold.
I'm lactose intolerant.
Well,
Stupid
it sucks
motherfucker.
to be you. You're in Canada. You don't have a time to be lactose intolerant.
But I'm a soy boy. Okay, are you like... Are you coming to my house now, or... That was the idea. This was the idea behind this part of the podcast. Is
All right,
that we didn't think
go
this-
home.
Okay, well, my next flight's not for like another
I
18
can't hear
hours.
you. I gotta go trick or treating. You're not here.
Tyler, I've flown all the way from England to Canada. You know how expensive this was?
I mean, this was your idea for me to go trick or treating at your place.
Well, have you got tickets? Because they didn't sell tickets like this late for the flight. It's going to be November. Like trick or treating in November.
I mean, I already have my ticket. It's not my problem that you forgot yours.
I don't forget it, Tyler.
You clearly
They just don't typically do 1 day return. Like you don't fly all the way to Canada and then just go to someone's house, trick or treat, and then fucking help back home.
Well,
it doesn't work like that.
It's not my problem that you weren't prepared.
Right? Okay, okay. 3 days later. How's that? 3 days later. How's that transition for you?
But now it's not Halloween, so why should I go to your house?
Well, mate. Okay, 3 hours later. there's a time difference, Tyler.
I don't think that's how time differences work.
Yeah, 4 days later, but it's actually 1 hour ahead of when we were in Canada. Okay, so look at me in my house. Just watching season 2 of Big Mouth. That really good show.
Those are all the kids behind me, like you did. Ha ha ha.
You sound a little bit old to be trick or treating. Are you tickling them? Oh, who may that be at my door? Those cheeky fuckers didn't read the sign on my door which said no trick or treating. Okay, look, I'm opening it. All right,
Trick or treat, mister?
Well, young man, you look like Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaWho?
Shia LaBeouf.
Do you mean the Transformers guy?
The Malcolm in the Middle?
Stevens?
Scrubs. Okay, young boy.
Boy Meets World?
Have a look in my sack.
All you
your
have
hand
in
deep
there
in
is
my sack.
fish.
Yeah, it's fish or chips. The UK.
Those are
specialty.
chips. Those are fries.
I mean, it'd be weird if they just serve fish with like Walker's crisps or Lay's. Do you call them Lay's?
Yeah, your Walkers are our Lays.
That's weird. That's just weird. I don't like it. Is it like the same brand? Because like it looks very similar.
It's this. I think it's the same. It's just different names because in the UK you guys like to walk, but in North America we're lazy cunts. So it's Lays.
Happy Halloween, everybody, from us. What are those guys doing? The podcast.
What guys?
What are those guys doing? That's the name
Those
of the
guys
podcast.
again. You mean what guys again? Those guys again?
You mean homestead of these people? It's Halloween 2018, just in case you're watching in the future. That would be weird. Like, there's so many podcasts I've listened to where I've been catching up on them. So I've heard episodes from like 2-3 years beforehand. So I thought I would just establish what year it was so people understood that this is 2018.
It is. But if you want a real shocker, we're not actually recording on Halloween, but this is for Halloween.
It's actually a week, isn't it? It's in a week's time.
Yeah, it's exactly a week before.
I haven't even filmed my Halloween special.
I bought a shit ton of candy because it was like I could buy 90 pieces of candy for $15 locally.
Wow.
But instead I went on Amazon and bought like 300 pieces of candy for $30.
Oh my god. I love supporting the local stores. Keep your town busy. Support the locals. I mean, we tend to just get like stuff on Halloween. Like my mum will just like pop to the shop and just buy, like you know like Milky bars and Mars bars and stuff.
Yeah.
They'll like Milky Way, whatever. Like she'll just buy like the fun size ones, which are like so small you could literally like put it in your nose. They're like so small. They're not like celebrations size small. Like, do you have celebrations? I feel like there's a big like culture difference here.
I don't think we have celebrations.
No, they're like it's like a box of assorted branded chocolates, like tiny little Twix, tiny little Snickers, tiny little Mars. You know?
Yeah. Well, we'll see here. Everything's in their own distribution company, so Reese can only have the Reese chocolates. Hershey can only have the Hershey's ones. Nestle can only have the Nestle ones.
That's so sad. That's so sad. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, you're not missing out on much because, like, you eat the good chocolates and then the only ones left are Bounty and Snickers because people don't like
love
nuts.
Bounty. What the fuck? Coconut?
And then coconut, yeah.
It's great.
And then once you admit defeat, like, oh, no one's going to eat these, you throw them away, and it gets used as a sewing kit box. And you're like, oh, a celebration. Why don't I just help myself? And you open it up, and there's just needles and sewing things. I don't like it. I don't like it, Tyler.
Yeah, I get that feeling. I know what you're talking about. There's like these little tins that you get here of like these different kinds of cookies. And a lot of people use that as their sewing kits. And you see when you go open it up, and it's just a bunch of fucking needles and thread.
Do not like. What are you going as for Halloween, Tyler?
I got my alien mask in, so. I told Nikki that for Halloween when I'm handing out candy, I want to put on my my alien pajamas, my Elvis the Alien shirt, and the alien mask.
My God!
When I'm handing out candy.
Have you got the child size alien costume you wanted?
I do, but see, the whole thing I'm gonna do with that though is it's gonna help the fact that the alien isn't supposed to, like, I'm taking everything super seriously, but the alien is like a joke. And I have a friend that's like almost 6 feet tall. I think he's like 5'10" or 5'11", and I'm gonna see if he can get into it. So he's just wearing like a really small, tight alien suit.
My God. I'm going as Knockout Wolf for Halloween.
I know, I saw.
So basically, I may as well talk about it because hopefully, all going to plan, the Halloween special should be out on Halloween and no later, which is the same day this podcast goes live. I have ordered some boxing gloves, some sweatbands, some quote unquote wolf ears. However, they've turned up and they look like friggin' anime cat ears. they're pink on the inside. What wolf do you see with pink ears? Jesus. And I ordered some red and yellow female gym shorts, which are rather short. So I've ordered some of them. So that'll be interesting.
That'll be real
how they
sexy.
fit.
Are you going to be sexy knockout wolf?
Yeah, I mean every Halloween costume is sexy something. So you know.
You
so
have to be.
I'll do that, and then like I'll pull them up real high, and then just get some thick ass shots.
You're gonna
for
be
the
like
thumbnail.
Ethan Klein.
Yeah, I will. So the idea behind the Halloween special is that I put all this stuff on, and then I have the boxing gloves on, for Knockout Wolf, and I try and do various challenges. So far, I thought of carving a pumpkin. Now I just want to say the pumpkin guts will already be out of the pumpkin.
Oh, lame.
I mean, the boxing glove's so big, I wouldn't be able to get it inside the pumpkin. It is big. They are very big because I got big hands.
Use a spoon. You hold a big spoon and spoon it out.
I did it with my hands last year, and it took me like half an hour. I shit you not, just to get the guts out. It was bad.
Pumpkins are nasty on the inside.
They are, yeah. So I'm gonna be carving a pumpkin, or I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and play a game, some kind of Halloweeny game. Do a challenge. I might, because I've been playing so much zombies. I might just see if I can get to a certain round on zombies with boxing gloves.
How are you gonna do any? You can't do anything when you're wearing boxing gloves.
Well, I mean, like the trick, like with the gloves on, they're so big. I sort of could hit the panels, I think, and I can just about move the thumbsticks, maybe. I guess I was gonna be like, yeah, I'll play zombies and I'll go on Blood of the Dead and see if I can get the Hell's Retriever or something. And I was like, I got the boxing gloves, I put them on, and the sudden realization that I'm not even gonna be able to do anything with these on me. So round 5 it is. I'm also gonna see if I can perhaps draw a picture. And also, maybe I need one of those big novelty pens.
That's what I was going to say. You can get one of those like really big pens or pencils, and that'll be enough to stick between the thumb.
Yeah, well, I wasn't aware of this, but the thumb and the big mitt part is connected.
Yeah, by a little bit. Like
I didn't know that. I did not know that. So, I don't know. That's probably going to make it a pain in the ass.
But there should still be like a hole in the middle of it, because the thumb should only be attached to like the finger.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to take a picture with them on with my phone, and I had to try and like pick it up with the one and jam it in to the gap between the thumb and the mitt, and they just didn't go very well.
Why didn't you just like set it on a timer or something, and then you don't have to hold it at all?
I could have. I could have. But you win some, you lose some. I also sort of wanted to try and make a sandwich. Like just like a cheese sandwich or something. Just cut some cheese. I feel like it might end in a brutal stabbing. Like there might be some blood in the Halloween special, unintentionally, of course.
Oof.
So we'll see.
That'll be interesting, though.
We will see, yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
There better be blood. I want some blood.
I used blood last year for that little Halloween promo I did with my bathtub. And I lit some candles and made a... what are they called? Like the devil star things?
A pentagram?
Pentagram. I made a pentagram with candles and fake blood in my bath, and then I did a skit at the end where I peed on them. But
I don't remember that video.
Well, it tipped the candles over, and the wax got on the bath.
Oh no!
It marked the bath. Yeah, it was red candles as well. Yeah.
That's easy to clean though. All you do is you just take a dryer and put the dryer on it, but don't let it melt completely. Like clean it as you got the heat on it.
Yeah, but it actually did something to the bath where it's just marked it. We can't get it off.
Oh no!
And we just
Does it,
started
like,
trying to
melt
sell the
it?
house then as well.
Do you have like a plastic tub?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of plastic. It's like it's thick.
It's
thick plastic. It's gonna be thicker than Knockout Wolf's ass
Oh,
in those shorts. Anyway, let's move on, Tyler, because it may be Halloween, but you know what's more Halloweeny than Halloween?
Zambies.
Oh, I was trying to work out what you said then. I was like, what the hell are zombies? Oh, do you mean flesh eaters?
The night of the flesh eaters.
Okay, I'm gonna do a Halloween transition now, and then I put like in there.
Do that, but then just in the background have you going, it's Halloween, spooky, it's Halloween.
Halloween time. Ooh, it's Halloween time with Knockout Wolf and Scorch Horse. Ooh. Are you still going by Scorch Horse? Or is it just
I dropped the
Scorch
horse
now?
part. I mean, all my YouTube and everything still says horse, but
And
Twitter
there's still
doesn't.
a horse mask.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Oh, it's Halloween with Knockout Wolf and Scorch, period. So, hit us, Tyler. Hit us!
So,
Thanks.
you're welcome. That's it. All right, so we're starting off Halloween with the segment we talked about last week but didn't actually do last week, where we watch a movie. I had Brodie watch Dawn of the Dead because the little bitch has never seen it before.
I've seen parts of it, including I've seen the end as well. I didn't mean to. It was just on TV once. So I was like, oh, it's Dawn of the Dead. I'll put it on. And I saw the end. I was like, cool, awesome. And I've seen a remake as well, which was questionable.
Yeah, I haven't seen the remake since it came out. So for next week, we're going to watch the remake and talk about the remake.
Oh, are we actually going to watch the remake of Dawn of the Dead?
Yes.
Is this real? Is this real? Do
real.
I have to sit? Do I have to sit through that goddamn movie again?
Yes, you do.
Oh God!
If I have to, you have to.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so this next part of the podcast, I think it goes without saying, it's gonna be spoilery. Woo! But it's for a film which came out perhaps 50 years ago. 45
yeah, it came
years
out
ago.
in 78, 77. Something like that.
Yeah, so 4 years. Because Halloween was 78, and the 40th anniversary remake sequel, which erases the original sequel.
It's this year is the 50th anniversary for Night of the Living Dead, though.
Oh, which we didn't watch for some reason. Whoa!
Yeah, we just kind of went on to Dawn. So
yeah.
It doesn't really matter kind of what order you watch them in because they're not directly connected in any way.
It's just zombies.
The only connection is the evolution of like the zombies in it. So each one takes, like, George Romero didn't want them connected in like any way other than the evolution of the zombie in each movie. But each movie takes place in the year it's made. Like in the time period it's made. So like Night of the Living Dead is the 60s, Dawn of the Dead is the 70s, and Day of the Dead is the 80s.
Ah, interesting.
But each one is further along in the zombie apocalypse. So
it's like 20 years into the zombie apocalypse is Day of the Dead.
No. It's what happens with the timeline is it's in that year, but it pushes up the previous movie to when it happened. So
okay.
Night of the Living Dead was 68, and it was like 1 to 3 or 4 days or something like that throughout. Like it was like the first day till like 3 days or something into the zombies starting. And then Dawn of the Dead takes place 3 weeks after the beginning of the outbreak, but it's in the 70s, so it just pushes the outbreak to the 70s. And then no one has like an actual time for how long it is after in Day of the Dead, but a lot of people agree on like it's a year or so after it happened, like after the first epidemic.
No, come on.
But
Come
it's
on.
in the 80s.
No.
But
No,
each
if
one
they
is
can
like
make-
the stage of it is it's zombies are taking over and the human population is dwindling.
They need to step up their game. I mean, Call of Duty Zombies has so many different timelines. Come on, that's a mini game in Call of Duty.
So what we were thinking was, because Night of the Living Dead is in the public domain, is that we might do like a separate thing and just kind of do like a commentary over it. Because you can do whatever the hell you want with Night of the Living Dead.
Well, what really happens is Tyler watches it and he makes insightful comments on different parts of the movie. And then I see like a really crude, badly done shot of a zombie getting shot in the head. I just go, look at that! That would be it. That would be it.
That would be pretty good. So there's.
I mean, I did try and be insightful with Dawn of the Dead. I had a notepad file open. I was like, you know what? I'm going to write down my thoughts as I go through. How helpful is that, Tyler?
It's pretty good. I didn't do that. But
well,
I know all I want to talk about. So. So the whole Dead series has like so many remakes. Like just to start, Night of the Living Dead was remade by Tom Savini in 1990. Then Dawn of the Dead in 2004, which was actually directed by Zack Snyder and written by James Gunn.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wow.
I had no idea.
It is quite modernized and odd. I think it's just odd.
I have a lot that I actually want to say about the Dawn of the Dead remake, which is why I want to save it for like another episode and rewatch it.
But yeah, we'll have a good chat about that. But from what I remember of the remake, it does remind me a lot more of Dead Rising in the way that there's asshole characters who just don't give a fuck and are just there like...
Yeah, there's a lot more characters stuck in one place than in the original.
Yeah,
it's a much bigger group. But the one thing I don't like about it is that they just have them all right away and they don't have to fight for it. And then, of course, in 2008, Day of the Dead came out. I seen that remake, and all I remember is some scientist in an underground facility running around killing people because he turned into a zombie. And now they are yet making another Day of the Dead remake called Bloodline, which comes out next month.
Wow. I mean, surely they would start the trilogy again and just do an up-to-date Night of the Living Dead.
I don't know why they keep redoing Day out of all of them.
Yeah, it seems like the one people talk about the least. In fact, before we start talking about this, I didn't know there was a Day of the Dead. I knew there was the Night and Dawn. I did not know there was a Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead is my favorite one, but like when it first came out, it was hated over all the other ones. Like people just didn't like it as much as the other ones.
That does not surprise me.
After everything went through, like it went through again, like it's got higher ratings now than it did back then. But I like the thing I like about his movies is a lot of the zombie movies now are always like it's always based on the zombies with really flat characters. But with Romero's movies, it's more based on the characters.
Yeah, the zombies really didn't have much to do with it, did they? Obviously, they were trying to survive against them, but the zombies just did nothing. They just sort of lifelessly, obviously, just wandered around.
Yeah, like there's a fine line between mixing the human characters and the zombies into the movie, where some will just focus on one over the other. Like most of the other movies they focus more on the zombies, and then you have The Walking Dead, which is more the characters than the zombies, and then the Romero has like a nice kind of split between it.
It's to the point in The Walking Dead now when I see a zombie, I'm like, oh, what?
It's like, oh my God,
in this show.
I forgot I was watching a zombie show.
I'm sure there's episodes where they throw in the occasional few shots of them hitting a few zombies before they go into a building, just to remind people it's a zombie show. I swear.
That's exactly what it is. You spend so much time not seeing zombies that you're going to forget. I just wanted one more thing is that there was actually a unauthorized sequel to there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of unauthorized sequels to the first Night of the Living Dead. So there was Zombie 2, which came out in 79. There's no Zombie 1.
No.
It's Zombie 2. Night of the Living Dead 3D, which came out in 2006.
Was it 3D?
Yeah, it's blue and red 3D, like with those blue and red glasses, old 3D. And then there's Day of the Dead 2, Contagium.
Oh, Contagium. That sounds dire.
With all that out of the way, let us get into Dawn of the Dead.
I actually wrote a line every 10 seconds, so we're going to be here a while.
Okay.
So, here are Brodie's views on George Romero's 1978, possibly 1977, Dawn of the Dead. So these are bullet points. I'm going to have to sort of go off them a little bit. So I thought that the start was quite an accurate representation of how it would be, because in some of these films, there's a few zombies and suddenly everybody loses their shit. And that's it. The world has gone crazy and places are being raided and stuff like that. And
that's actually how the remake happens.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine some of that happening, like in places where it's not uncommon for shoplifting to happen and places to be held up and such. It may happen, but in a lot of zombie movies, they make out like they see a few zombies and everyone like starts getting in each other's cars, running people over, breaking into houses. This goes crazy.
Yeah, like one zombie has shown up and then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah. People are still people. People don't just suddenly become savages. Savages, idiots. But they start off in the newsroom and they're still caring about the viewers. They're like, because they put like the false information up on screen saying about what safe shelters there are, even though some of them have been overrun. Yeah. And they're saying, well, this is inaccurate. We can't show this. And the guy's saying, yeah, but we're going to lose viewers. And it's just mad that they're still caring about viewers when there's been a zombie apocalypse for 3 weeks. Yeah. But I suppose some people would still be like that. They just kind of grasping on to former life before the apocalypse. I put in caps because I was so shocked by the N-word. My goodness. Oh, Jesus, I was like, turn this off. This is it's on YouTube. The whole film is on YouTube, I found out, but it's quite a low quality version where someone's chopped it up for some reason.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah.
There's one I found which was the extended cut, but they had changed all the music to like the high intense music when shit's going down in the mall, and it just doesn't fit.
I felt like some of the music wasn't intense enough, but because of how the film is shot, it would be weird if suddenly it was just like in this really colourful mall.
The music is what I like a lot in the movie.
Yeah, the music was funny. I've said that a few times actually. I've also put in caps underneath that head explosion when he kicks the door open and then shoots a guy.
Yeah, because that whole part there was the police still doing their job. There was people are supposed to be bringing out their dead to get killed and burned so that it doesn't spread. But in that building, in the projects, it's all foreigners that are living in there, and none of them. They all have their own religion and they don't want to give up their dead. They think there's going to be a cure. So that whole building is full of the dead. But then there's also a gang in there trying to stop the SWAT team from going in. But then there's that one crazy racist SWAT guy who's just losing his shit and killing everybody.
Yeah, he was certainly a character. I put as a question, why do black zombies just turn white-faced? The makeup in the film is very poor, as a lot of the zombies just have a slightly green face.
Well, and the thing with that as well is like a lot of them are either like kind of like that or like kind of like a blue or a gray. But like his movies were like he's an independent filmmaker back then. Yeah. So he had very small budgets to work with.
I think that's kind of more realistic as well. obviously over time they decay. So maybe in Day of the Dead.
Yeah. So because when you pass away, like you get paler, so it makes sense. Yeah, especially if they've been dead for a few days or whatever, and it's been like 3 weeks.
It would take a while, I think, for your face to be falling off, as they show in a lot of these zombie films and stuff.
Yeah, like Walking Dead, it's only like when he first wakes up, it's like 3 months, but like everything's decaying and rotten and like.
Yeah, it's like the zombies who are in half, just like clawing against.
It's like years of deterioration in 4 months, 3-4 months.
They get a lot wrong in that show.
Yeah.
I like the heartbeats in the music when they're going down to the basement, I think it was, where they were keeping all the dead people alive.
Yeah.
And it was like,
where they're keeping all the dead people alive. That's the best line.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's Halloween, anything can happen. I don't know what this was about, but I said a lot of stuff is happening very quickly.
Yeah, the whole point of like the beginning is just showing it's supposed to be going by fast and a lot going on because it's showing just the chaos of everything that's going on during this, because it starts like you said, it's in the news station and there's a guy there's a scientist or whatever there talking to everybody. He's been talking to them for like 3 weeks since it's been going on. They're trying to contain it. Some people think everything's fine, but it's actually not, and nobody's following the containment rules to help stop it, like with this building in the projects that has all their dead just locked up in the basement.
I feel like a lot of people wouldn't help themselves in the situation. Like if an apocalypse actually happened, there would be precautions where they'd say, come to these places, don't do this, don't do that, but people are just ignorant and they do it anyway, or they do that classic zombie movie thing where they're like, but he's still my Terrence, and they hug him, and then Terrence rips a big ass piece of their shoulder off, and they're like, oh, Terrence! It's
and that happens in the apartment building too.
It does, yeah. I think that was the black guy with the white face.
Yeah, and his wife sees him, and she goes to hug him, and then he just starts fucking biting her.
It's like Dead Rising. Like I said on Twitter to you, that I'm definitely going to be told about Dead Rising in this. Because it got to the point where on the cover art, they said this game is in no way associated to Dawn of the Dead. Because it's so similar. But at the start of that, when the old lady... Dead Rising is one of my favourite games ever. But it still annoys me in the beginning where the old lady's like, oh, my fluffy! And it's the dog, the little poodle, behind the barricade. Fuck knows how the little dog got behind that barricade when hundreds of zombies can't open it. And she opens the barricade to go get him, and all the zombies attack him. And literally, that old lady and her little poodle is the reason the whole mall gets flooded with zombies. It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous.
That's kind of stupid.
It makes me wonder, though. Obviously, they hear noises and things. So initially in Dead Rising, they're all tapping against the windows because they can see them in there. And only that one part of the mall is open. And so they want to get through to them. But I don't really understand how they get all through the big park in the middle of the mall. where the metal music plays, which used to scare the shit out of me. Oh my God, that used to scare the hell out of me. How they got just everywhere. There's so many of them, but in Dawn of the Dead, they sort of explain that the zombies, although their brain is gone, they still have some instinctive
they
thoughts,
have very minimal, like, they're remembering patterns in their life, like small memories of routine. So they're all being drawn to that motel because the mall, because that's where they were all the time when they were alive. And they all have,
that was clever.
Small... Another thing I like about the Romero's ones compared to a lot of others is his have some sort of motor function with, like, tools. Like, they still have the idea of, like, I can use this to... It's not so much in Dawn of the Dead, but Night of the Living Dead and Day of the Dead, you can see them using, like, tools in that a lot more.
Like in Dawn of the Dead, there's the zombie who holds the gun.
Yeah, you get the gun away.
Yeah, and then it's the one I wrote down actually, where one of the zombies falls over in a little pond and it starts picking up coins.
Yeah.
which I found funny. But let me carry on with my list. I said, wow, zombie kids, they went where? They went there.
Well,
Because,
and that's another thing that we're like no other show or movie really goes to. It's like kids are probably going to be a huge population of zombies.
Yeah, it's like it took The Walking Dead a whole season pretty much to build up to a kid being a zombie, and they made it out to be this giant deal that this one kid is a zombie. But it's not until like season 6 or season 7 that you actually see other kids in the show. It's just this idea that kids, they either didn't survive or they're just not there.
They all got eaten alive to nothing but bone.
Yeah, yeah. So they're not zombies. When they died, they just disintegrated straight away. The elevators. I love that when they're all escalators, even not elevators.
Escalator. I was
escalators.
wondering.
Yeah, when they're stood on them and the zombies are like T-posed and it starts moving and they're just bashing into each other like.
What the fuck's going on?
I love that. The music was the very Dead Rising mall theme, like. I like that.
the mall music.
Yeah, like the bum bum bum.
Yeah.
Bum bum. Yeah, that's great. Flyboy, what was his actual name?
Steven.
Steven. He reminds me of Eric from that 70s show. Which now brings me into the third episode that I talk about that guy. What's his name again? Oh shit,
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace. Maybe that should be like a recurring thing, that Topher Grace is like our icon.
Could be.
Fuck the banana with the bagel. Just put Topher Grace's face and everything.
We should
and
do
they'll
that.
be like, not that guy, Topher Grace again.
What if we do Topher Grace holding a bagel and a banana?
Oh, that'd be perfect. Can we get him as a guest?
That'd be awesome.
Good. That'd be good. When the cop launches the zombie off the top floor. Okay, I remember that, yeah. There's just this one random scene where it's just much more dramatic than anything else in the movie. So zombies are going towards Steven and the cop. And he picks
Which
this
cop?
one zombie up. The black cop. What's his name?
That's Peter.
That's Peter, okay. So he picks him up, and he goes to throw him off the balcony, and suddenly the camera is at the bottom of the balcony and zooms out really dramatically, and the zombie's just like... That was fantastic.
Hey, when you have dummies, what else are you going to do? Like, when you have a dummy, you fucking throw it off of something high.
You should watch this Auntie Donna series called 1999, which is some of their best work. And one of the episodes is, I can't remember the name of it, but it's Mr. Beast. And it's this guy in the office who wants to change his name on his lanyard to Mr. Beast. And they're saying, oh, sorry, you can't have nicknames. It has to be your real name. And he's getting really annoyed. He goes, bloody hell, and he picks everybody up that gets in his way and just throws them. And they turn into a mannequin in midair. It's fantastic. It's so good. The screwdriver going through, it's when they go in the hardware store, I think it is. Or no, they just go through a store.
They're in one of the stores, and they get caught.
Yeah, and it's the hardware zombie.
Yeah.
And he picks up the screwdriver out of his pocket when he's like lying on top of him, and he just like slides it in his neck, and there's no sound or anything.
It's actually in his ear. He puts it through his ear.
Yeah. Oh, it's just like, it reminded me of putting a warm knife through butter. A warm knife through butter. It was, yeah, you just heard, it just really gently went in. I was like,
but see, what I really like about that is if he had a screwdriver, like it has a skull. You can't just jab a screwdriver through a skull like what happens in The Walking Dead, where everybody just effortlessly puts screwdrivers and little knives through a skull. He finds a soft spot, which is the ear, and drives it in where there's no bone to get to the brain.
That's a very good idea, and now I'm cringing a lot thinking about... okay. Oh, jeez. Oh, what's happened to me? I like the random music number when they're moving the trucks.
Yes. I love the music in this movie.
It's sort of funky. It's like... ba-bow, ba-bow, ba-bow.
Yeah.
Ba-bow, 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 and they're just driving trucks around. Ridiculous. I sort of... I was feeling really sick last night when I was watching this. Just midway through, I had a really bad headache and I was feeling sick. But I soldiered on through the film. But I watched that and I was feeling really nauseous, and I just sort of kept zoning out. Like, what is happening? They just keep moving trucks around and just like smiling, just smiling at each other. Like, this is fun, right? What else did I say? The zombie. When Roger initially gets attacked, bless him. So I remembered Roger's name.
That's the only one you remember Roger.
Yeah. He went to go get his bag because he's being a cocky fuck. And then he's like, oh no, my bag. And he goes back to get it. And the zombie just peels some of his arm off like jerky.
Yeah. Oh.
Just goes, I was like, oh, tasty. It reminded me of a film me and Lily watched called Gerald's Game on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. It's got the mum from Spy Kids in, and her and her husband go away for super kinky handcuffs on the bed time in a cottage like miles away from anyone else. And this isn't spoiling it because it's in the trailer. All right, this is the intro to the film. Yeah, they do that. She's handcuffed to the bed, and then he has a heart attack, and she is stuck there. And there's a scene in that where some skin kind of goes just like that, and it was
He goes
just like jerky, just like the skin on soup. Ugh, disgusting. The wheelbarrow scene, I think, was meant to seem more bad when they put Roger in the wheelbarrow because he's feeling all zombie-like, and there was all four characters team up like they're a squad in an intro to COD Zombies, and they're like, huh, huh, huh. But instead it just looks really lame, and they just start moving around the mall. It's just like bum 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 bum. It just meant to seem really badass, but I just laughed. However, I did enjoy the montage of them moving zombie bodies around. It's when they just decided to start using them all for fun.
Right.
And they were like, we killed everyone now. Let's just move the bodies. And it was just like a fun little montage of them just moving zombie bodies and stuff. What else have we got? I like the sudden cut to Roger struggling. It was kind of quite happy scenes and stuff. And then suddenly it would cut to the scene where Roger is in the safe room and he's near to turning. And they're holding him down because he's like having a little bit of a fit. And I feel like that'd be probably quite realistic to how people that actually turn in real life. You know?
Yeah, if it was something like that to happen.
It'd be gradual, wouldn't it? And yeah God.
And it's apparently it's meant to be like different for everybody. Like some people will turn quick, some people will take a long time to turn.
I see, makes sense.
Because he even Peter mentions in the movie that the longest he'd seen somebody before they turned was 3 days.
Yeah, I remember that actually. One thing I found funny, that was when Roger, spoilers, finally dies and becomes a zombie. He just suddenly looks wrinkly as fuck.
Yeah, and that was like, that was probably like, it's good makeup, but it's like he just looks like an old man.
Yeah, but it was if they already had the budget for one good zombie. The bikers turn up after they see I'm just gonna say Carol so I can do the Pepe Sylvia Carol thing. But she's on the roof and the bikers see her with the binoculars, don't they?
Yeah.
And it reminded me of because they did similar with the remake. I think it's the remake of Dawn of the Dead where they see a guy across to another building with binoculars, but he uses like a whiteboard.
Yeah, and he's talking to them. Yeah.
Yeah, and he plays chess with them and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of that, but instead these bikers see them and they come and raise hell, and there's like 20 of them, and they were just having fun with them, and they're like throwing pies in their faces and things, and I was just instantly thinking, what would happen if these guys were in a 2018 zombie film where the zombies, for some reason, it's almost as if these horror directors nowadays think that when we die, us unfit people who can't run very well, we're all like slobs. We got shit stamina. Why do they think that when we die and then come back as a deceased a deceased monster whose limbs are falling apart and is just a fraction of their former self, why do they suddenly think that they become athletic superhumans? You know?
Right.
They can just suddenly run super fast. It's like, oh yeah, you have to die to be able to unlock that energy. Like your muscles become supercharged when you become a zombie. Get out of here with that shit.
Like that's
Come
what
on.
the Dawn of the Dead remake is. All the zombies run super fucking fast.
Yeah, it's so stupid. And because yeah, I remember there's the scene when they're running from this massive horde of zombies and they just about get into the elevator, and I just think, why would they all be that fast? It's mad. Like maybe they'd run, but they'd probably just run at a normal speed.
But see, zombies would never be able to run because if it's literally a corpse coming back to life, you have rigor mortis. Everything's stiff. It's hard to move. That's why that's why zombies are slow.
Hence why they just sort of bumble into each other.
Yeah.
They actually did some pretty good eating scenes at the end of the movie, I said, which is when I was feeling quite sick, and I looked at the screen.
And then all of a sudden there's guts and everything and limbs being torn apart.
Beforehand, it was just sort of like they go down and start eating them, and they just come up with a bit of blood on them and things. But at the end, they actually had the intestines and things like that, which actually looked quite good. I was surprised.
Apparently, like Tom Savini did the gore on that, and apparently one thing he said with a lot of the special effects, they were done like the day of shooting. Like he didn't prep for any of them at all. He came up with stuff on the spot for filming.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. They were like, oh, we still got that carbonara left from lunch. Like, yeah, I'll just stick some of that in. Just mash it up a little bit. I said, the eating sounds sometimes sound like kids going, Thought that was a very important note. Now this is quite a big spoiler. I mean, if you've been listening through this part and didn't want the movie spoiled, you're a fucking idiot. It's an old-ass movie anyway, so you know. But the eating sounds... Oh, so I've already said that. When Flyboy comes out the elevator, when unfortunately he has been eaten by zombies, or he's been infected, and he turns instantly, doesn't he? Yeah. So that's another one. Obviously, Roger gets bitten a little bit, so it takes him a while. But all these zombies just devour him. Yeah. So it makes a bit more sense. But he's just suddenly a zombie, and he comes out the elevator, and it's this big surprise. It's like bwah when the doors open. But then just as before the bwah sound even finishes, it's the more music again going ba dum 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 da 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 dum bum bum bum. It's so funny. And then Flyboy literally fucks them over at the end.
Which all comes down to where they have vague memories from when they were alive. Because that's how he knew where to go. Because they had blocked off that wall. But
yeah, they made it look like a wall, didn't they? Which I thought was very good. But
it's like a survival instinct too, right? Like they want food as well. And he knows where there could be food.
Exactly, yeah. So he kind of had those little memories, especially because he's recently turned. Yeah. So he finds, for those who haven't seen, he goes up to the section of the mall where they are, because they've hidden themselves off in this safe room sort of area. But they've boarded up the wall and they've covered it up with the same color wall, so that it doesn't actually look like there's any entrance there, which is quite clever. And he finds it and he opens it and he lets all the other zombies in. And for some reason, Peter just expects it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, here he is. Here's Flyboy."
He knows as well, that they have some sort of memory, and he knows that that Peter had gotten bitten, and when he hears his zombies coming in, he just assumes. I think it's a good assumption that that's what it would have been, because no other zombie would have known to go that way. Yeah, true. However, I did note after about Flyboy fucking him over, I said, at least he closed the door. Because he walks in and he just closes the door, and then Peter blows his brains out. And I'm thinking, why did he close the door? Yeah. And then, so they got a helicopter, and Carol, whatever her name is, she's like, you know what, let's flip this bitch, I'm out. But Peter's like, no, I'm gonna stay. I don't want to face the world full of zombies and shit. And he stays in this room with a pistol. For some reason, it looks like the pistol. There's only 2 shots in it, doesn't it? Yeah. But somehow he gets much more out of it than that.
and he's holding it against his head as if he's about to kill himself. And then he decides, you know what, fuck this, and he shoots a zombie, and he starts shooting the other ones, and it's like ba 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 ba, and he starts fighting them, and it's really epic. But I'm like, you've just made it a lot harder for yourself just by that sudden doubt. And he hops in the helicopter. He's like, how much fuel do we have? She's like, not much. He's like, all right, okay, cool. And that was the end of the film. And then they hit you with the credits, and they credit the lead zombies. And now I want to know who the lead zombies are, because I personally would have given my awards to the one bold zombie who was on the escalator bumbling around. He gave me a few chuckles.
Oh yeah,
gotta say, I did like him.
The one with that sweater vest or whatever.
Yeah,
or like that big like fancy sweater.
Yeah, and also I like the zombie who's holding the gun. And at the end, he looks at Peter with his rifle, and he just gives him the.
He was like,
just gives him the gun, like, you know. Yeah, enjoy. Which I thought at that point, the zombie was gonna use it and just shoot them out in the helicopter. That would have been so funny.
No, that doesn't come until Day of the Dead.
Oh really?
Oh, I've given you a spoiler. Oh.
Oh my goodness! Did they just suddenly become aware of how to use guns as well?
You'll find out when I make you watch it.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So that concludes me talking about Dawn of the Dead. I almost forgot. Sorry, I'm looking at a TikTok of a furry dancing.
Why?
I don't know, but it's quite funny because.
Why are there so many furries on TikTok?
Well, furries are kind of cringe, and TikTok attracts cringe, so I feel like they just go hand in hand, really.
It's true. Yeah. So you brought up a lot of the stuff I agree with on Dawn of the Dead. What I like the most about it is that they get to the mall, and clearly it's not empty because there's an epidemic going on. Nobody's going to lock up a mall. Everyone's going to leave and not worry about locking up stores or anything.
No.
But the main doors weren't locked, but a lot of the stores inside were closed.
Yeah.
But the main doors were still open.
Yeah, I'd say, like, unless it happened before, like, the zombie outbreak happened overnight sort of thing. They found out about it overnight.
It kind of does when you watch the first one. Like, it happens, like, everything starts happening at night when it first starts.
I see.
So if it's like before it got too bad as well, like that mall would have been running for a couple days during it as well. But then they probably had people not going to work or whatever. But then anybody else who died, they're all wandering to the mall.
Yeah, it makes me wonder as if some people actually kind of carried on going to work and things because they felt like if the zombie apocalypse blew over, like whether they'd lose their job or not.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that would be a fair thing to think when something like this is happening.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stores are like all their main doors are closed because at some point they probably told people to stop going. But then as all the other undead started wandering to the mall, it got full because you can tell that they know how to open doors. They've opened doors at points. So
True.
So they fill up the mall. They get there. The one thing that annoyed me the most was they get there and there's no zombies on the second floor. And they haven't really wandered to like stairs to walk up to the second floor, like the escalators, because all the power was off. Then they turned on the power and then they wandered onto the escalators because of the noise. And now they're all over the place and they made it harder for themselves.
Yeah. I thought that's kind of clever though, in a way that George Romero even thought that, these zombies aren't going to go upstairs unless there's something noisy attracting them up the stairs, which is, quite cool. And they love escalators. They're having the time of their life. That just made it for me. That made the whole film for me.
They love those escalators.
Really
I like
did.
the whole part with them. Like, they only plan to stay there for a couple days, but then they find out, like, everything they need is in that mall. So
it's sort of ridiculous, like going to a mall having this perfect setup and then thinking, we'll go after a couple days.
And the best thing about it is it's America because there's a fucking gun shop in the mall.
Yeah. And just like in Dead Rising, There's a gun shop, and of course, what does that mean? Oh yeah, there's a psychopath in the gun shop. Fantastic. Dead Rising 1 was just, I love, because obviously they tried to make them in malls and stuff afterwards.
Yeah.
But there's nothing but the charm of the first one, where you had to get the survivors who were too afraid to face the zombies, and also the actual psychopaths. But instead, in Dead Rising 4 and things, it's just enemies who you meet, and there's a tiny cutscene, but they've got no personality. They're just harder enemies to kill.
It's just bad guy.
It just annoys the hell out of me. They did so much wrong with Dead Rising 4. Dead Rising 3, they did some wrong things, but it was alright. It was bearable. Dead Rising 4, fuck me, they did so much wrong with it.
I actually never liked the first Dead Rising.
You didn't?
I loved 2, though. 2 is great.
2 is just like an updated version. Like, they just fixed some things.
I liked it better. I don't know what it was, but I didn't like the feeling of the first one.
The first one's a bit creepier, I think.
Yeah.
I still to this day, I still get a little bit uneasy playing it, especially at night, because it hits midnight in the game. It plays that cutscene where it shows the zombies getting a little bit rowdy, and their eyes go red and things.
Right, yeah, because they get crazy at night.
Yeah, they do, just like gremlins.
Yeah, so Dawn of the Dead with them going through the mall. I like the whole huge chunk of the movie where it's them working together to clear everything out so they can have the mall nice and empty.
Yeah.
And then, do you hear that?
No.
Nikki was running water and it was really loud. Cut that
Nikki.
part out. I like how they're going through, getting everything all settled so they can just live in that mall. They spend all this time, and so Francine is pregnant in it, and it's hard to tell how long everything's happening between, because it's 3 weeks afterwards, but it's when they're cleaning out the hotel and everything. That could have only been like a couple of days, maybe it was a week that they spent doing all that. And then the whole montage of them doing stuff, that's throughout months and months of them living there, because you can see as Francine's getting more pregnant. So they've been in there for months surviving. She's probably almost ready. She's probably, I'd assume at that point she's probably 8 months. So I would think they've been in that mall for 4 months at that point.
Jeez, yeah.
And they've had
it does suddenly just jump to a scene which doesn't seem like it would happen straight after.
And then the bikers show up with they've clearly been living on the road for these past 4 months on their own, which is why they pretend the dead aren't even there, and they're just playing around with them because they've been doing it for so long. It's like nothing to them. They wanted it to, but if they can't have it, nobody can have it. So they busted in and fucked everything over. I liked Roger's character as well, where he kind of starts losing his mind and getting cocky, and that's what ends up with him getting bit and everything. And that's his ultimate end.
When he's turning, he's just going a little bit crazy as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like, make sure I'm dead. Like, I'll try not to come back. I'll try not to turn. Like, don't think you got a choice in it, buddy.
He has no choice.
He has no choice.
Yeah, and then at the ending, you don't really know what happens to Peter and Francine. They just kind of float away. Maybe they survived, maybe they didn't.
That's what I imagine. As they're floating away.
One thing I like about the bikers is how casual they are about everything going on. Like, especially when Steven gets all butthurt and doesn't want them taking it, so he starts fighting them. One of the bikers goes in and starts using one of those blood monitor things or whatever that you stick your arm in. Oh, yeah. And he just starts going with that. And one of the other guys is like, what the hell are you doing playing with that thing when there's people up there shooting at us? It was like so casual.
Or there's the one biker who steals the TV. And it's like, what are you going to watch on that thing?
Oh, nothing, I guess. And he just breaks it.
I enjoyed it. I just wish it didn't feel sick, because I feel like I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah. When I first saw that, I didn't like it as much, because that was back when there was this time when I was younger, probably up until like when I was a teenager, I didn't really like old movies. I couldn't watch old movies. I couldn't stand watching black and white for whatever reason. If a movie was black and white, I wouldn't watch it because I thought it was stupid.
You get too used to the high definition, don't you?
Yeah.
And I feel that.
the one thing I didn't like about Dawn of the Dead, the reason I didn't like it when I was a kid is because I didn't think the gore was good enough. But that was also an early time in when gore was just finally starting to get like really good. But I have already seen like lots of really good gore to go back to that, and I was like, that's stupid. And that's one of the other reasons why I like Day of the Dead more when I was younger, because the gore was fucking amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess it's 10 years later, isn't it?
That's a lot of people say that that's probably Tom Savini's best special effects is Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
And it's really good for like the 80s is the best decade for gore. That was the peak of gore, I think. It's not gotten any better since. It's just gotten worse because they fucking digitalize everything now.
All CGI. There's nothing scarier than digital blood coming out of a body, huh?
I actually think the Dawn of the Dead remake is the first zombie movie I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure that was my first zombie movie, the Dawn of the Dead remake.
I'll have to watch it again at some point. There's not many zombie films I enjoy.
Yeah, like the George Romero's are the only ones that I can rewatch like over and over and over.
Yeah,
I like
George
them
Romero, what a hero, and he has forever been concreted into Call of the Dead.
Yes, if they bring back Call of the Dead and Black Ops 4, I'll buy it.
I feel like Call of the Dead is one of the only ones they haven't redone. Let's think about it. Like, hang on, right? Call of Duty Zombies maps. Whilst we talk about this, how about you introduce your story, Tyler? Because it's Halloween.
Yes.
Or let's do another transition. Ooh, Tyler has a story that he wrote about for Halloween. Ooh.
All right, so I was under the what?
Jeez, not yet. I'm talking about zombies map still. God, Tyler.
Oh my God.
I mean, I did do the transition, but still. But Jesus. Where are the maps? Okay, so we got Nakta and Toten, which is Night of the Undead. Yeah. That's been redone. Verrucht redone twice. Oh yeah. I mean, the World of War maps have been remastered twice now. And then you got Kino redone. 5, which has just been redone. Ascension, which has been redone, like in Black Ops 3. Call the Dead, no, which has George Romero in it. It deserves to be redone.
Yes, especially since he has passed away. They should redo
exactly.
it.
And there's that scene in it where he's talking, I think at the end of it, and he's like, I don't know what got over us, but suddenly everybody turned into zombies.
Yeah.
And then you got Shangri-La, that's been redone. Moon, been redone. Transit hasn't been redone, but it's been talked about. Newtown Zombies hasn't been. Die Rise hasn't. Mob of the Dead just has. Buried hasn't. Origins has. And then after that, all the Black Ops 3 stuff doesn't really need to be redone because it's next gen anyway. But yeah, it's the only game from Black Ops 1 which hasn't been. The only map from Black Ops 1 which hasn't been touched since Black Ops 1.
Which I don't understand. That's the best one.
In fact, though, although they have put the lighthouse from it in Blackout.
Oh yes.
So they've been using the assets for it.
But they won't remake it.
So who knows?
Wasn't there there's you'd go up to the lighthouse and you'd zip line down?
Yeah, you can zip line from there to the ship.
Yeah, cool. I remember. I think one of the things we used to do when I played it a lot when we were trying to get around, we'd do the get down to one zombie, shoot off its leg, get it to follow us up to the top of the lighthouse, and then go down so we could do our stuff while it slowly crawled back to us.
Yeah, it's a good idea. That was back when you were allowed to keep a last zombie.
Oh, you can't do that anymore?
And you can keep a last zombie, but if you don't interact with it or you're not near it for like a few minutes, they kill it off.
Oh, okay.
So someone has to keep him entertained, or you have to at least let him hit you a few times, like every couple of minutes or something, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But they're just trying to make it more challenging, which is good. Like Black Ops 4 Zombies is one of my favorites so far already. The launch especially, like this has been the best ever launch for Zombies, I think, because it's got 4 maps if you get the Black Ops Pass, and each map, Voyage of Despair, which is the Titanic map, I'm not a big fan of. However, the others are just fantastic. Even that one's all right. But yeah, it's really fun, really fun. And Call of Dead deserves to be remastered. That's the end of my TED talk. Thank you very much for coming along, and happy Hanukkah.
It's Halloween, man, not Christmas.
Oh, jeez. Okay, sorry. I'm thankful for. Oh wait, no, that's the other one. Oh, God. I love you anyway, Tyler. You don't need me to buy you a card and presents to tell you that I love you here on Halloween. Oh, God, that's a different. I just don't get it. Anyway, just tell us your story, Tyler. Hit us.
I only love you on Labor Day.
Perfect.
All right, so I was under the impression that we were both gonna write up scary stories.
Oh no, I was just gonna go on creepypasta.
Yeah, I actually wrote my own spooky story because we were gonna read spooky stories for the Halloween episode.
Yeah.
So
okay.
this is my spooky story. It's really stupid, and it was written in like 5 minutes.
Okay, that's what I like to hear.
It is called Billy Was Afraid of Nothing.
Can we call him Billiam?
Billiam was afraid of nothing.
I like it.
All right. Billy was afraid of nothing. No one and nothing could ever scare him. Many people have tried, but they have all failed. Billy was born with nerves of steel. Nothing can catch him off guard. Or so he thought. Everyone is afraid of something. Billy has just not found his yet, but he soon would.
He's afraid of the homophobic. No, he's afraid of the what? Homosexuals, that's it. How did I forget that? He's a homophobe, that's what I'm trying to say.
I thought you were trying to say he's afraid of the homophobics.
No, he's just he is homophobic because he's afraid of the gays.
All right. Billy had stayed nights outside in the cold, dark woods all alone. Spent weekends in haunted houses, bungee jumped from great heights, skydived many times. So many things he has done, which would seem scary to so many others, he has done with not so much as a twitch of second guessing in his eye. But soon he would witness something that would chill him to his very core.
I mean, he's got nerves of steel, which I imagine chill quite easily.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, okay, cool. Anyway, carry on.
Billy loved to hang out with his...
I knew you were going to do that. Billiam
loved to... See, I can't take my stupid story seriously if I use Billiam. I'm sorry.
Okay, carry on.
Billy loved to hang out with his friends. They would always try to scare him, but they would never succeed. Trying to jump scare him, setting up fake ghosts in his home, getting him to complete death-defying stunts. Just recently, they all challenged him to base jump off of a very high mountain. As with every other attempt his friends made to either scare him or have him chicken out last minute, he proceeded to complete that challenge with a brave face and not a drop of worry in his body. He dove off that cliff with all of the confidence in the world and stuck the landing perfectly with a huge grin on his face, mocking his friends as he always does after successfully completing such a task. Though this time his friends seemed upset and sad, and perhaps some even crying, as if they had hoped this would have been the stunt he would be too scared to complete. Billy could not put together why all his friends seemed so sad about his recent accomplishment. This had been the greatest thing he had ever done in so long, and he thought they would have been more excited to see him make it to the bottom of that mountain safe. Billy decided to just go to sleep and speak with them all in the morning. The night gets swallowed by the morning sun, and Billy awakens from his sleep. To Billy's confusion, everything was still dark, pitch black even. He reached over to grab his phone, but hits his hand on a wall that was not there when he went to sleep. He reached for the other side, but hit yet another wall, and one above him too. Billy's heart began to race. He panics and starts screaming for help, but no one can hear him, for you see, Billy did not land that base dive as he thought. His parachute malfunctioned, and as he got close to the ground, it detached from the pack, and Billy landed headfirst to the ground. In a coma for over a week, the doctors declared him dead, and he was just buried several hours ago.
He wasn't dead.
They buried him alive.
Oh! Wow, that's pretty good. I like that. Now, I fooled you. I actually have written a story.
Oh, you actually did? Ooh.
Yeah, I wrote it whilst you were reading your one out about Gillian. Okay.
It's just my story. You were typing what I was saying.
William had nerves of steel. He wasn't afraid of it. I'm just going to read out some creepypastas. So my idea was, years ago, I found out that on the Creepypasta website, there is a random pasta button, which just takes you to a random pasta. Now, I hit it twice, and the second one which came up was a pasta called New Website. Hello there, everyone. I am proud to announce the creepypasta.org is finally complete, and it's just an announcement that they accidentally made a creepypasta. So there's a couple in front of me. Now there's they can range from tiny to huge. Okay, now even like the medium ones are fucking long as hell. So I'm just gonna read the tiny ones. Okay, that I found. So most of the tiny ones are just like a few paragraphs. Okay, I got 3 here. Okay, so this first one is called Branches in the Wind. It's got 15,000 views, and it was submitted in 2015. I did not know that people actually still wrote creepypastas.
Oh yeah, it still goes, man.
I did not know that. Okay, so it's got 4 stars, rated 4.02 by 254 users. It's doing pretty well. Finally, I'm home. Actually, I wrote this. This isn't on Creepypasta. I wrote this, okay? Finally, I'm home. After working a late night, I finally finished a project that my boss pushed on me. It was all worth it, though, because I had a great day ahead of me. The part I was most excited for, though, was seeing my son. I finally oh my god. I finally won the custody battle against my ex-wife.
What the fuck?
And now I've actually get to see him. Oh, come on. Okay, all right. They've actually got a backstory here, right? I fixed up my old spare... See, I'm used to reading creepypastas, and they start off like, I was at home watching TV, and then the TV got staticky, and then I was watching Simpsons, and Bart was crying, and Homer was crying, and Lisa wasn't there, and then there was no music, and she was dead. That's what I'm used to hearing. Yeah. This has got an actual backstory. Okay. I finally won the custody battle against my ex-wife, and so now I actually get to see him. I fixed up my old spare bedroom for him, although it looked bland in all white. I figured we'd have some spare time later and we could make any changes he wanted. I lumbered up the stairs, and when I finally heard he was there, what is going on with the writing? Fuck me. Anyway, basically he arrived, and I like, come in. He said, Daddy, I can't sleep. There's a monster in the window. Well, what the fuck has happened with his story? It's just jumped to like nighttime. What the shit?
Someone who doesn't know how to write wrote a story.
Fuck me. Okay. Well, this has got 4 stars, so I'd hate to see what the others like. Monsters, huh? That's original for a kid. Oh, don't worry about that. It's just the tree's branches blowing in the wind. See? I pointed and showed him the branches tapping against the window pane. He trusted me enough to calm himself down, and I kissed him goodnight. Lol. Kissed your son. Bet Billion wouldn't like that, would he? Homophobe.
Probably not.
Finally, time for sleep. I could hardly even see straight at this point. Was he pissed? Also, I don't know. They missed that one out as well. I walked across the hallway and collapsed into my bed. I had had too much on my plate to be dealing with monsters. I had to go with him to school the next day to get him signed up in our district. I had to buy him school clothes. I couldn't even think straight. Like, why is he so distraught about... Why is he so... Like, his head is all... He doesn't know what's going on. He can't think straight just because he has to get him school clothes. I don't know. That's when I heard him calling again. Man, I love the kid and all, but I needed some sleep. Daddy, the monsters are back again, he shrieked. I looked up to the window. Nope, nothing but the tree branches. I walked over, and to prove to him, I opened the window and turned back to him. See? It's nothing but the tree. I told you. Now go to sleep. You got school in the morning, you little shit. He was still a little
Did he actually
startled
say little shit?
No, he didn't. He was thinking it. He was still a little startled from what I could see. But what could I do? I was just too damn tired. Again, I fell into the comfort of my bed, and then I heard a cry, and I just about had enough. I put my hand under my bed and reached for my shotgun. That's another little Brodie joke. Trademark. Fine, I'll sleep in your bed with you. If you see any monsters, just hold tight to me. I walked back into his room, pulled back his red blanket, and lay next to the kid. While I lay, eyes closed, my mind started wondering, didn't I buy white sheets for the bed? I looked at my son's slit neck and realized my mistake. That's when I heard the monster, except it wasn't tapping at the glass. It was the footsteps from the open window. I couldn't help but laugh. How did I realize that I had no trees in my yard?
What the fuck?
Oh no. Oh, it's...
Why did he laugh?
There's a link at the bottom of it. It's been... Wow. It's actually been submitted from a third-party website called Crappypasta. I did not know as a thing. Welcome to Crappypasta. This is the companion site to Creepypasta, and here's where you'll find all the stories that were deemed not quite ready for the big leagues. And on the side of the screen is the "You Tried" star. Wow. Okay.
I did the random one, and I think I got a good story. It's a nice short one.
Okay, hit me.
It's called Crowded Street.
Okay.
When I stepped out of the tube station, it was raining heavily outside. I opened my umbrella and started walking, but something was wrong. The atmosphere was somehow very unpleasant. Strange. Every single person I walked past didn't have an umbrella over them. Everyone was silent and looking grim.
Ooh.
And they walked on, all facing the same direction. Then suddenly a taxi stopped by, and the driver put out his hand and beckoned to me to come over. I gestured to him that I didn't need a taxi, but the taxi driver said, "Come on, get in." He was so insistent that I had to give in. Besides, I wanted to get away from this unpleasant atmosphere. Later, the driver, pale-faced, said to me, "When I saw you trying to avoid bumping into people on an empty street, I thought I should help you." Oh, she saw ghosts!
Oh my god! Whoa,
There's actually nobody there.
Oh, jeez, that was. Oh god, I'm not gonna sleep tonight. No, sorry. Oh shit, the bed. Okay. So I've got another one which seems kind of serious. So I'll read this quickly. Okay. This one's rated less though. This is 3.5 stars, unfortunately.
Damn.
Yeah. Let me just check. Okay, no, it wasn't submitted from Crappypastas. We're okay. You know those sounds you hear when no one is home? Those sounds only you hear when you're alone. I do. I hear them every day. The creaking, the noises, the paranoia of my mind playing tricks on me. But is it really? What if there's someone outside the door, waiting for me to see what the sound is? What if he is just waiting for my curiosity to take over and warp my mind into his world? He's waiting for my mind to weaken, waiting for me to fall asleep, waiting for something I don't know. He's waiting, just waiting. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, paralyzed by something holding you down, frozen in fear? You can't move. You can hardly breathe, and all you hear is what reminds you of that ringing in your ears that gets louder and louder and screeches and takes over the fear and makes you tremble in your paralyzed state. The noise that blocks out everything in your mind except for your heartbeat, and it terrifies you. That feeling of helplessness, knowing that whatever happens to you, whatever fate you have, is in his hands. I know that feeling all too well. It terrifies me. It haunts me. But yet, it's become a part of me. Have you ever woken up in a cold sweat, not knowing if what you just felt was a hallucination, a dream, a nightmare, some horrendous joke, or if it really happened? That feeling of relief and terror, all at the same time. That uneasy feeling of insecurity, being afraid of the night, of sleep, of dreaming, the unexplainable pain in your heart, in your spirit. that sounds like a prayer now. That you know it happened, but you don't want to believe it. How can you believe it? It was a stupid dream, right? Right? It's taking over my mind, my life. I don't feel safe anywhere. No matter where I go, where I stay, he's there. In my head, outside my door, that creaking, those shadows. The one outside your line of sight, he's there. He's watching. The minute you look in his direction, he won't be there, but believe me, he's watching. The uneasy feeling you get, the feeling of being watched, it's him. I know it's him. He'll always be there laughing at your pain, at your trembling, agony, and crying. They won't believe you. No one will believe you. They know what it feels like. They know what he feels like, but they won't believe you. I tried telling them. I tried warning them. As they tell me I'm schizophrenic, but I know the truth. He's waiting, just waiting. Oh my God! I was trying not to laugh as I got towards the end of that, because I was thinking, I've just read this really dramatically, building up to some sort of ending, but there isn't an ending at all.
What the fuck?
It just keeps saying, he's there. It's scary. Oh my goodness, you know he's there, but you can't see him. Oh jeez.
Oh my God.
Oh man, this is creepy. Someone said, well, that was anticlimactic. Someone says, can't sleep now. Must keep my eyes open, with like a woo face. God,
that sounds sarcastic.
I don't know. It looks like a bit of a weeb.
Oh, it could be.
Somebody has blocked out the words as if they're like trigger warnings, but it's literally sleep paralysis and A Nightmare on Elm Street. Why did they cover these things up? I don't really know. It sounds just like when I had black mold poisoning. I love it. I finally got this last one. This one is rated 3.5 stars as well. However, I think this is much better than the other two. It's much
Is
better.
it 3.5 out of 5 or 10?
Out of 5. So it's still quite well rated. It's like a 7 out of 10. Not bad. Anthony Fantano doesn't give out many 7s. That's quite a good score. So this was submitted by Jeff Killer. Obviously, Jeff the Killer is the popular creepypasta.
Yep.
It's another tiny one. Okay. The other two are tiny ones, but this is proper tiny. Okay. I'm going to do my best to read this one out. It's called Who Was Phone?
Oh my God.
So, you're with yo honey, and you're making out when the phone rings. You answer it. That voice says, what are you doing with my daughter? You tell your girl, she says, my dad is dead. Then who was phone?
For fuck's sakes. Why do you gotta bring that meme back?
I didn't. It just came up. It actually just came up.
Why is that on a creepypasta?
I don't know, but I was quite impressed that it popped up as just a random creepypasta out of like the millions which are on this site.
I found another good one.
Oh, hit me! I want to hear it.
Go ahead. What you said, I interrupted you there.
I was just gonna say, I'm surprised that people are still submitting them.
Creepypasta is still going pretty good.
Oh my God! I just found one which is 4.5 star. Can I read this really quick?
Is it a short one?
It's a short one, yeah. This might actually be good. Coffins used to be built with holes in them, attached 6 feet of copper tubing and a bell. Oh, this reminds me of your story, actually. Because, yeah, have you seen The Nun?
Not yet.
Okay, it's not very good, but this reminds me of it. The tubing would often allow air for victims buried under the mistaken impression they were dead. Billiam. In a certain small town, Harold... the bad punctuation here. Harold, the local gravedigger, upon hearing a bell one night, went to go see if it was children pretending to be spirits. Sometimes it was also the wind. This time, it was an either. A voice from below begged and pleaded to be unburied. Are you Sarah O'Brien? I couldn't pronounce O'Brien. Are you Sarah O'Bannon? Harold asked. Yes, the muffled voice asserted. You were born on September 17th, 1827? Yes. The gravestone here says you died on February 20th, 1857. No, I'm alive. It was a mistake. Dig me up. Set me free. Sorry about this, ma'am, Harold says, stepping on the bell to silence it, plugging up the copper tube with dirt. But this is August. Whatever you are down there, you sure as hell aren't alive no more. You ain't coming up. So basically, it'd been like 6 months since she was buried. Someone commented saying, this is absolutely great. Had to read it to my entire family. 10 out of 10. I don't know. This just seems stupid. This just seemed like ridiculous. But it's got 4.5 stars. So. Okay, cool.
All right. So I got a really good one right here that I found. This is a really good creepypasta. Mm-hmm. It's rated 5 stars.
Oh. Oh, 5 stars. That's rare.
Yeah. Are you ready for it?
I mean, I'm not expecting much after that was being a 4.5 star, but hit me.
Brodie cannot skate. He found out when he was only 8. One day he found out that it could be only fate. He just needs to get good mate.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, so my Twitter name is Brodie Can't Skate. Fucking Tyler wrote a story like a year ago, and we found it again. We forgot about it. Oh, for fuck's sake.
It was 2 years ago.
2 years? Jesus Christ.
Oh.
That's funny. That is funny. Oh, you got me with that one. That came out of nowhere. I liked it. I like it.
Well, I think that's a good place to end. There's no point in dragging this on further with Conspiracy Corner this week.
Yeah, I mean, I have gotten a conspiracy, but I can let it wait. I mean, I've talked about conspiracies every week so far, so I may as well let it wait this time. Thank you very much for listening to Not Those Guys Again. Whoa.
It was the spooky episode. Don't get too scared.
Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, if you did get too scared, just like go and read a book.
Yeah, a children's book that isn't scary.
Like, I don't know. Have you got any books that aren't scary, Tyler?
Green Eggs and Ham.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a classic. Good night, everybody.
See you next time.
Ooh.